and my conversation with Jan Egeland, who just spent time, as you saw there, in Cameroon, witnessing the crisis firsthand. He joins me live now from Amman, Jordan. So, Jan, good to see you. If you are a child in Cameroon and you're caught in the middle of this violence due to this Anglophone crisis, this violence, this conflict between the French and English-speaking parts of the country, what are you risking by trying to go to school every day?
You're risking your life going to school. Your teacher would risk her or his life going to school. One school not far from where we visited had an attack. 3 children, 1 teacher was killed in the classroom. So what's happened is that 500,000 children have been locked out of school. School has been closed at gunpoint, and then hundreds of thousands or more are crammed together in schools where we visited that had 100 kids in the classroom. You cannot learn like that. So one traditional chief told me, I'm nervous. We're losing a generation here to this maddening conflict among grown men who are willing to fight each other to the last child.
And for people who don't really understand, I mean, this is, I would say, one of the most underreported conflicts in the entire world. I mean, I don't think the Anglophone crisis in Cameroon gets covered. And what's happening in Cameroon and why these children are being caught in the crossfire here. Can you explain to our audience why that is? Why is the violence in the Anglophone crisis targeting school children?
Well, it is actually irrational in many ways. But of course, it started with feeling of marginalization, feeling that of discrimination of this area of English-speaking people being discriminated by the French-speaking majority in the capital, Yaoundé. Then there were demonstrations, there were strikes, etc., that was met by violence, and then little by little there are now armed opposition groups who are using any kind of violence to make their point. So again, we see that something that should be resolved by the negotiating table ends up in schools being closed, in children being killed, in villages being torched to the ground. I met families who had been living out in the open, in the jungle, for very long, for fear of their lives.
This particular civil war in Cameroon has gone on since about 2016, 2017. So you're seeing children who basically haven't gone to school for several years. You touched on this. You said that, people are saying there in Cameroon that we're losing a generation. What happens to this generation of young people, particularly in the northwest and southwest parts of the country where this particular type of violence is really flaring up?
Well, the two northwest and southwest regions have now, 700,000 displaced and then accumulated more than 700,000 children who have no education or so substandard education that they're not really learning. So for 5 long years, we've seen children without education. I was there with an important fund called Education Cannot Wait under the United Nations. They have funding from a number of donors. We will use that funding now to restart schools in the areas where it is safe. But of course, there needs to be a political solution. We need to get the grown men on each side, some of them living abroad and sending their children to school, to understand that grown men cannot use children as pawns in their struggle. There has to be talks. This neglected conflict has to end. It is completely senseless.
And why do you think this is so neglected, this particular education crisis? Because, for example, in Nigeria, I think that people are well aware of the crisis going on there when it comes to school children being kidnapped and Boko Haram's sort of interruption of childhood education there. But in Cameroon, it sort of doesn't seem to be noticed that much by the international media. Why do you think that is?
Yeah. It's beyond me. It's a little bit like northern Uganda back in the days with the Lord's Resistance Army. A huge crisis, and nobody cared. Nobody notices, basically. It's a remote place. People are fleeing only across the border to Nigeria if they flee, or they stay and suffer within these areas. We are few aid groups there. We're overstretched and underfunded. We haven't done a good enough job to tell the world that this has to end. There must be pressure on the parties to talk, to end it, and there needs to be a major investment in hope. Education is hope. These children, beautiful children that I met, that were traumatized beyond belief. The smallest sound would make them nervous. They had dreams. They wanted to be doctors and nurses and engineers and teachers like our children. They are denied that at the moment. It has to end. We have to invest in hope for these children.
That is so, so sad. Jan Egeland, thank you so much for being on the program.
Let me answer my learned colleague, because you see, we are talking, our children are listening, and the world is watching. So we should be very careful with what we say. In 1960, the Republic of Cameroon attained independence on the 1st of January. They had no constitution. On the 1st of January, when the Republic of Cameroon attained independence, it had no constitution. Their constitution was voted on the 4th of March 1960. Correct me if I'm wrong. Now, somebody was trying to say from England that the two options were not imposed by England. I want to tell him to go back to his books. Southern Cameroon being a self-governing territory in 1961. A self-governing territory in 1961, in the words of the United Nations. Fell under a different category of rules that were being applied to territories that were being decolonized. So, my learned colleague here is jubilating that we are talking about territory. His honeymoon is very, very short. His honeymoon is going to be very short because I will side with Sisiku Eyonta here. I will side with him here to tell my learned colleague that in 1961, when the United Nations decided to grant independence, as I earlier said, there was an independence vote on the 23rd of April, which gave rise to Resolution 1608. And in Article 2B, the independence of Southern Cameroon was formally recognized. That one, nobody should even disturb himself with that one. It is clear. Now, his problem is that Southern Cameroon, according to him, has never been a state. Let me refresh his memory. In 1959, the Queen of England erected Southern Cameroon, which was previously called British Southern Cameroon, erected into an independent province within the Federation of Nigeria. So it was now called Southern Cameroons. In 1960, the Queen of England enacted the Southern Cameroon's constitution. If you don't have it, please come, I will give you.
I don't need it.
A state that has a constitution.
Jonathan. Okay. Still today, 1st of October, 2022. I want to remind all prisoners of war where they there for prison. They are 10 and the rest. Someone I know say, we never forget una. ALA, Ambazonia Liberation Army, when are the People's National Army, led by King Diamond, nothing ever drop down your weapon. Tiboya. Because if you drop down our weapon, we not own don't finish. So I want to give you assurance. So we will ever drop down our weapons till they release we all until they go for dialogue table. Now wait it that way we want for this 1st of October. For past information for the international community for year and fine. So we need all our prisoners of war out of prison. Not be so? Not so. Not be so? Not so. Them say them back, but see Diamond here to celebrate 1st October. Oh. Just 5 minutes away from here, but them don't run. Oh. Not lie? No. Not lie? No. Today is the 1st of October, 2022. Yes. Now me this live for LM. Now me, the King Diamond, live for LM. As I'm in talk, say today we go celebrate them. Now few representatives then will come out from each village and we're not there here. Make we not clap. All man will come out from Menji, make it clap. All man will come out from Lewo, make it clap. All man will come out from Litier, make it clap. All man will come out from Mumbin, make it clap. All man will come up for Besali, make it clap. Wabane, make it clap. Yes. Everybody is there here. And today is the 1st of October. When me, King Diamond, are they live. If you pen when I die, now me this year live. Are there for Bisali Bangang local highway live. Not be so? Not so. Not be so? Not so. Yes. We want to use opportunity for this 1st of October today to send a message to the international communities, especially AU, UN, US, UK, all of them. We want to remind them about the ongoing war of occupation where they take place for southern Cameroon and Ambazonia by Republic. So wait till them the wait. We, the Ambazonian freedom fighters, are not warlords. We want to drop this gun down, but we want to get freedom. So make when I come in, we will drop weapon. We like peace. We like negotiation. We want to go for dialogue table. We'll be ready to go for dialogue table. But make the dialogue, make it be in a neutral ground with the presence of a third party. Now, message that one will come out today, 1st of October, 2022, for send them outside. Now, Liberian people this, as now the Tsiang. Now, Liberian people, I'm not going to show my face for inside, for security purpose. So, when we are the Tsiang, now the president of Liberian people, that when we are the Tsiang for camera, so I'm not be able to show their faces for their security, because it don't the ongoing war of occupation where they take place for Ambazonia, it don't too much. So, inside the past years, we don't lost plenty fallen heroes. We don't lost plenty people. We lost Major General Yeke. We lost FM Oliver. When a female shower the BB, popular name. Them go for social media talk say that war don't end for Liberian. But not be King Diamond this life for Liberian. Yes. Not be me this life for Liberian. Yes. The war not will end. See freedom. Not be so. Not be so. Life. And I want to use this opportunity for thank some particular diaspora people them. Where I know say we will not be involved for sponsor war, but only when our humanitarian activities them persons like in the person of Dr. Florentine Funch. Only for your humanitarian activities where they do them for refugees them. Where would you wash them? Even here for ground zero, would you wash things the way they do them all around? Even here for Liberian, your humanitarian aid. For our internally and externally displaced persons, we want to appreciate you in a special way.
Thank you, my brother.
The people for Libya, talk say thank you.
Thank you.
And then now, we want equally thank the Directorate of Security for IPOA for a little bit small token where don't they assist or support we. We want for equally thank the CIC, person where you get this group for Libya ALA, the CIC. We are not going to release the name for now. But we want to thank you, rebellion people. Say thank you. Thank you. For sponsoring this group. You, the CIC of ALA, Ambazonia Liberation Army. Ambazonia Liberation Army. Now, Ambazonia People's National Army. No be so? Not so. No be so? Not so. We don't ever fail una. No. We don't ever fail una. No. And we promise never to fail una. Thank una plenty. Yeah. Thank you. All the refugees. To all the Ambazonia refugees, internally and externally displaced, especially the ones from Nigeria. I want to tell you when I say, ALA, we've been led by me, King Diamond. We'll never forget una. We love una all. And one day, we will meet up again. With the fight, I will not drop down this weapon. Today, the 1st of October, 2022, where we use this opportunity for tell una say, Muna, nothing say we don't forget una. We then win a life. See boya. No be so? No be so?
Donaton. Oh, nak.
Well, thank you, the population. Thank the population. We are seeing our population demonstrating. We are marching to Buya. People from Basa are marching to
Jonathan.
We thank God for a bright day like this. Today, the 1st of October 2022. Here we are at the ceremonial ground here in Mogamo. That is Commander Ezepude and Commander Ezemo addressing the troop, and Colonel DM.
Good evening. This is Comrade Funton Daniel speaking live this evening here in the great state of Texas, here in the United States. It is quite amazing, not only just, but what is happening in Southern Cameroon territory is the problems of inability of international community to consider that Southern Cameroon question is something that has completely been neglected. Of course, from every indication, what is going on in Southern Cameroon has demonstrated the people togetherness, seeking for unrelentless freedom, freedom to be able to live, freedom to self-govern, freedom from foreign domination, freedom from colonial rule, freedom to be able to decide their future destiny. The people of Southern Cameroon did not anticipate all this behavior. Well, it's because of an injustice meted upon the people of Southern Cameroon without disregard. It is the policy of the British government that has affected the people of Southern Cameroon as you watch this demonstration. First, after the United Nations defeated the German, the territory that were under the colonial, they were placed under colonial administrator. So the people of Southern Cameroon was placed under British government. In fact, the British government frustrated the people of Southern Cameroon. There were three options that should have been in the first place. Option 1, option 2, and option 3. However, the British facilitated two options, option 1 and option 2. Despite the fact that the people of Southern Cameroon were a self-government, they have demonstrated in West Africa, the only country in West Africa that has elected a president and transferred power to another elected president, the first of its kind in West Africa. It is quite unfortunate. Southern Cameroon has its own constitution. La Republique never had a constitution until 1960, whereas the people of Southern Cameroon has its own constitution, has elected their own prime minister, Ndele. Go together and celebrate without questioning, disregard facts and figures, and one wondering whether does international community believe in reality or they believe on falsified facts, so long as it suits their personal interests. And this has drawn their attention for the people of Southern Cameroon. Question the validity of the relationship that has fought ahead, that the people of Southern Cameroon must live under the foreign domination, foreign umbrella, La République du Cameroon. Of course, despite the demonstration for the past 5 years, celebrating their Independence Day, which is exactly what's supposed to have been, and yet it hasn't drawn attention to the international community. One will expect the international community to recognize and apologize that we are deeply sorry from the error we have made, and that we are sorry we have put you into chaos. Let's build a new solid. Of course, they won't apologize. Of course, they believe they are all right. And that is the fundamental questions. Trying to justify their claim that they have an obligations and that what they did a good, fabulous job. Well, let them appreciate themselves, congratulate themselves. Let's congratulate British government for their brilliant performance, for put us into this chaos that we're living today. You can see every little mother, grandmother in a local village believe that he knew that he has to fight for freedom. Freedom of liberty, freedom of justice, freedom of self-government, freedom of a people that represent them. And that has demonstrated. Imagine La République du Cameroon installing their own member in Southern Cameroon is just them. But when it hasn't resonated within the international community, it is very, very unfortunate for you watching this evening. I will continue this demonstration and this broadcast till the freedom reign. This is Comrade Funtan Daniel. I want you to continue to watch the 1st of October Independence Day celebration throughout Ambazonia. Stay tuned.
the entire population of Ambazonia.
These are the population marching to show their patriotism for the nation of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. Their nation, the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. The flag is about to be hoisted. Here are the entourage, the grandstand, watching the march past and seeing how they celebrate.
Let me answer my learned colleague, because you see, we are talking, our children are listening and the world is watching, so we should be very careful with what we say. In 1960, the Republic of Cameroon attained independence on the 1st of January. They had no constitution. On the 1st of January, when the Republic of Cameroon attained independence, it had no constitution. Their constitution was voted on the 4th of March 1960. Correct me if I'm wrong. Now, somebody was trying to say from England that the two options were not imposed by England. I want to tell him to go back to his books. Southern Cameroon being a self-governing territory in 1961. A self-governing territory in 1961, in the words of the United Nations, fell under a different category of rules that were being applied to territories that were being decolonized. So, my learned colleague here is jubilating that we are talking about territory. His honeymoon is very, very short. His honeymoon is going to be very short because I will side with Sisiku Eyonta here. I will side with him here to tell my learned colleague that in 1961, when the United Nations decided to grant independence, as I earlier said, there was an independence vote on the 23rd of April, which gave rise to Resolution 1608. And in Article 2B, the independence of Southern Cameroon was formally recognized. That one, nobody should even disturb himself with that one. It is clear. Now, his problem is that Southern Cameroon, according to him, has never been a state. Let me refresh his memory. In 1959, the Queen of England erected Southern Cameroon, which was previously called British Southern Cameroon, erected into an independent province within the Federation of Nigeria. So it was now called Southern Cameroons. In 1960, the Queen of England enacted the Southern Cameroon's constitution. If you don't have it, please come, I will give you.
I don't need it.
A state that has a constitution.
To go ever drip or respect any place where they meet up any Southern Cameroon military Western for them. So I pray for our civilian and society, may they cooperate, may they join with we, society, the people they put information, society will pass meet up with our goal. So short live the struggle, long live Ambazonia. Thank you now.
Well, thank you, the population. Thank the population. We are seeing our population demonstrating. We are marching to Buya. People from Bessa are marching to Buya. We are marching to Buya. Who is counting? to know. Who don't know, go know.